Okay, picture this. It's a Wednesday night. You're in the northeast of England, and it's not just any Wednesday. It is absolutely pouring.
Oh, it's miserable.
The wind is howling off the North Sea. The rain is coming down sideways. It's that kind of bone-chilling cold you can feel right through the TV screen.
Yeah.
You're at the Stadium of Light, and the atmosphere is just thick.
It's the classic football cliche come to life, isn't it?
Can they do it on a rainy night in Stoke?
Exactly. Except, this time it's Sunderland, and the stakes are just infinitely higher than some standard mid-table clash.
Right. And on the pitch, you have this immovable object, Sunderland, a newly promoted team that has somehow turned their home ground into a fortress.
And I don't think fortress is an exaggeration.
Not at all. Before this match, they hadn't lost a single game at home all season.
It's actually a staggering record when you dig into it. 12 games played at the Stadium of Light, 7 wins, 5 draws, 0 losses.
For a team that just came up from the championship.
I mean, that is unheard of in the modern Premier League era. It really is.
It feels like a throwback stat.
It is. You actually have to go back to 1977-78 to find a newly promoted side with a longer unbeaten home run.
And who was that?
That was Nottingham Forest. And if you know your history, you know that Forest team went on to win the league title that year. Now, I'm not suggesting Sunderland is going to win the league.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
But that's the company they're keeping. That's the level of resilience we were talking about. Teams like Arsenal and Tottenham have gone there this season and failed to win.
So for Liverpool, walking into that stadium, into that weather, against that specific defensive block, it was the ultimate test.
And let's talk about Liverpool's headspace coming into this, because they aren't exactly riding high, are they?
Far from it. This is a Liverpool team that's arguably in its most fragile state since Arne Slot took over.
They're reeling from that 2-1 defeat to Manchester City just a few days ago. That game was brutal high intensity. The controversy with the Szoboszlai red card, it took a lot out of them.
And looking at the table, they couldn't really afford a hangover day.
No, the math was unforgiving. They were sitting 6th. The gap to the top 4 was starting to look, well, dangerous.
Right.
If they lost this game, or even drew it, you start looking at a 6, maybe 7-point gap to the Champions League spots. For a club like Liverpool, that's crisis territory.
So you have the immovable object in Sunderland, and you have a desperate, wounded giant in Liverpool.
A perfect storm.
So today on the deep dive, we're peeling back the layers of this match. We aren't just doing a play-by-play. We're looking at the mechanics of resilience.
How do you break down a team that just refuses to lose at home?
Exactly. And what's the physical cost of winning in this league? And we have to talk about the tactical gamble Arne Slot took that. Well, it nearly backfired spectacularly.
It's a fast-getting case study in risk management.
Let's start with the team sheet. I remember looking at the lineup an hour before kickoff and just doing a double take. No Trent Alexander-Arnold, obviously. No Connor Bradley. No Jeremy Frimpong. The right-back situation was a ghost town.
It's been the story of their season, hasn't it? The right-back curse.
It really has.
But what Slot did was, well, it was bold. He puts Wataru Endo at right-back.
Now, for those who don't obsess over player positions, why is that such a massive deal? Endo is a midfielder, sure, but can he just shift over a few yards?
It sounds simple on paper, but biomechanically and tactically, it's a totally different sport.
Yeah.
Think about it. As a defensive midfielder, like Endo usually is, you play with the game in 360 degrees.
Right. You can turn anywhere.
Exactly. You receive the ball, you pivot, you look for passes in a radius. As a right back, your world is cut in half. The touchline is your defender and your enemy. You have to defend one-on-one against wingers running at you at full speed.
And Endo isn't exactly known for his sprint speed.
He's not. He's a destroyer. He reads the game. But asking him to track a winger like Nilson Angelo, who is pace and power personified, on a wet, slippery pitch, that is asking for trouble.
So it was a move born of desperation.
Completely. He chose defensive stability over attacking width, just hoping Endo wouldn't get roasted.
And on the other side, Sunderland, how did they actually set up to stop this Liverpool attack?
They went with a classic Jose Mourinho-style low block, a 5-4-1 formation.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just about having numbers back.
It was the organization.
It was about compactness. If you looked at the overhead camera, the distance between their defensive line and their midfield line was maybe 8 yards.
Suffocating.
Utterly. They essentially dared Liverpool to play through a brick wall. They packed the central areas, forcing Liverpool to pass the ball wide. And remember,
Liverpool had a defensive midfielder at right back.
so the threat from out wide was basically neutralized. It was a very, very smart game plan from Regis.
So the game starts, and the rain is just torrential. You could see the ball getting stuck under players' feet.
Yeah, the conditions definitely favored the defender. When the pitch is that wet, the ball skids, but it also slows down in patches. It makes one-touch passing incredibly risky.
So Liverpool had all the ball but couldn't do much with it.
All right, they dominated possession. I think they hit nearly 70% in the first 15 minutes. But it was sterile possession. They were just passing into U-shape around that Sunderland block.
But there was one matchup that was just pure entertainment. Ibrahim Konate versus Brian Brobby.
Oh, I love this. This was heavyweight boxing in the middle of a football match.
Brobby's built like a tank, isn't he?
He is so difficult to knock off the ball. He has this low center of gravity, and he uses his body to back into defenders, roll them, and spin. He's a nightmare.
But Konate
is one of the few defenders in world football who can actually match that raw strength.
There was that moment in the first half, I think around the 20th minute, where Brobby tried to break away.
I know exactly the one you mean. A long ball over the top, Brobby chests it down and tries to turn. Any other defender, he spins them and he's through on goal.
But Konate just stood him up.
He didn't commit. He stood his ground, waited for Brobby to make the move, and then just muscled him off the ball. Clean as a whistle.
It looked like two Reading stags.
It really did. And that battle was crucial because Sunderland's whole game plan relied on Brobby holding the ball up to relieve pressure. Because Konate won those duels, the ball just kept coming back. Sunderland couldn't breathe.
Still, despite that dominance, Liverpool weren't creating much. It felt like they were banging their heads against a wall until Florian Wirtz started to wake up.
Wirtz is the X factor. Since he joined Liverpool, he's taken on that creative burden. And in a game like this, where there is zero space, you need someone who can operate in a phone booth.
He started to roam, didn't he?
Yeah, he was dropping deep, drifting left, drifting right. He basically refused to be marked.
And he had the only real moment of magic in the first half, the 32nd minute.
That was the warning shot. It started with Cody Gakpo on the left. He cuts inside, spots Wirtz making a late run into the box.
Which is something he's added to his game, those late arrivals.
Those Lampard-esque runs, yeah. Wirtz takes a touch to settle the ball on the wet grass and just lashes it.
It beat the keeper, didn't it?
Robin Roofs was beaten. He didn't even move. But the ball just smashes against the base of the post. You could hear the thud over the crowd noise.
Inches.
And that's the margin in the Premier League. If that goes in, the whole game opens up. Sunderland has to attack. Liverpool can counter.
But it stays out. It stays 0-0.
And you could feel the belief growing in that Sunderland crowd. They went into halftime thinking, we can do this. The fortress is holding.
Halftime comes and goes. The rain is still pouring. And usually the second half of these games follows a pattern.
The favorite turns the screw. The underdog gets tired.
Right. But Sunderland actually came out swinging.
They did. Lebrick clearly saw something. He pushed his wingbacks, Trey Hume and Nordi Mukiele, much higher up the pitch.
Yeah.
They started pressing Liverpool's midfield.
For a while, it looked like it was working.
For about 10 minutes, yeah. It looked like Sunderland might actually nick a goal. They had a flurry of corners, a couple of shots from distance.
But paradoxically, that bravery was exactly what Liverpool needed.
It's the trap. When you come out of your shell against a team like Liverpool, you leave gaps. You stretch that vertical distance we talked about.
And suddenly there's space.
Suddenly, Wirtz had 5 yards of space instead of 2. McAllister had time to look up. The game became chaotic, and Liverpool thrives in chaos.
But the breakthrough didn't come from open play. It came from the most old-school method possible.
The great equalizer. A set piece.
Minute 61. Liverpool wins a corner, their 10th of the game.
Which just shows the pressure they were building.
Mohamed Salah walks over to take it. The crowd is whistling. He whips it in.
And this is where big players step up. We talk about tactics, but sometimes it's just about desire. Virgil van Dijk starts his run from the penalty spot.
He just wants it more.
He reads the flight of the ball perfectly. He gets a running jump over the Sunderland zonal markers, and he just hammers that header down.
It wasn't clean, though, was it?
Not entirely.
Yeah.
It hits Habib Diarra, who is standing on the line trying to clear it. It deflects off his shoulder and goes into the roof of the net.
But it's Van Dijk's goal.
Oh, make no mistake. The power, the positioning, he forced that error. That's his goal.
And the relief on the faces of the Liverpool players, it was palpable.
It was huge. But I want to pause on the significance of that goal for a second, because we witnessed a little bit of history there.
Oh, right, the records.
That goal was Virgil van Dijk's 23rd in the Premier League for Liverpool. He is now the highest scoring defender in the club's Premier League history.
Wow. That's more than Hypia, Carragher.
Agger, all of them. He's outscored them all, and it's not like he takes penalties.
It's all aerial dominance.
Exactly. And the assist. That was Mohamed Salah's 92nd Premier League assist for Liverpool.
Putting him level with
Steven Gerrard.
Wow.
It's poetic, really. You're in a muddy, rainy trench warfare match in Sunderland. You need a goal. Who delivers? The captain and the king? Van Dijk and Salah.
So it's 1-0. Liverpool are in control. The fortress has been breached. They just need to see out the game, and then...
And the narrative shifts.
Yeah.
This is the yes, but moment of the match.
The 69th minute. We see Wataru Endo go down in the box, defending a corner.
And immediately you knew it was bad. He wasn't holding his knee or his hamstring. He was clutching his ankle, and he was pounding the ground in frustration.
And he'd been playing well, too, out of position.
That's the tragedy of it. He had done his job. He'd kept Angelo quiet. But he just lands awkwardly after a contest. His ankle rolls underneath him. It's a horrible injury.
He had to be stretchered off. The whole stadium went quiet.
You could see Arne Slot on the touchline. He wasn't celebrating the lead anymore. He had his head in his hands. He knows what this means.
Because the infirmary is already full.
That's the problem. No Frimpong. No Bradley. Now Endo's gone. Slot confirmed after the match that it doesn't look good and he expects a long layoff.
So they're 1-0 up, but they have no right back.
No right back on the pitch and no right back on the bench.
So what did they do?
They went into pure survival mode. Joe Gomez came on, who was only just back from injury himself, and they shifted to a back five. They basically said, we are not attacking anymore. We are holding on to this 1-0 with our lives.
And that made for a terrifying final 20 minutes for the Liverpool fans.
Oh, a squeaky bum time, as Alex Ferguson used to say. Sunderland smelled the blood. They threw everyone forward. They were just pumping long balls into the box, trying to create chaos.
And there was 7 minutes of added time. 7.
Which feels like an eternity when you're 1-0 up away from home. And Sunderland nearly did it.
The header from Angelo.
Deep in stoppage time. A cross comes in. Liverpool's tired legs can't close it down. Angelo rises, powers a header toward the bottom corner.
Yeah.
And then Alisson Becker.
On his 250th appearance.
It had to be him. He produces a fingertip save that is just world class. He gets down so quickly for a big man. That save is worth as much as Van Dijk's goal.
No question.
If that goes in, Liverpool drops 2 points, and the narrative this morning is a total disaster.
So the whistle finally blows. Liverpool 1, Sunderland 0. The streak is broken.
But the story is deeper than just the scoreline. I want to bring up the underlying numbers, the XG, because it paints a really interesting picture.
Okay, so for those who might not follow the advanced stats that closely, what does the XG tell us here?
So expected goals measures the quality of the chances created. Liverpool finished with an XG of roughly 2.0. Sunderland was down at 0.66.
So despite the panic at the end, Liverpool actually created enough to win 2 games over.
Statistically, yes. They had 23 shots to Sunderland's 11. It shows that even though it felt tight, Liverpool's process was good. They broke down the block effectively enough to win comfortably, but poor finishing and bad luck kept it close.
But stats don't account for the tension.
Exactly. Stats don't account for the rainy night in Sunderland factor. One slip, one deflection, and that 0.66 becomes a goal. That's why the tension was real.
Let's wrap this up by looking at what this result actually means. First, for Sunderland, the run is over.
The run is over, but the pride is absolutely intact. Regis said afterwards that Liverpool is a monster and that the game was decided by small margins. And he's right.
They proved they belong.
Oh, absolutely. They are a top-half team on this form. That defensive structure will frustrate a lot of teams. The fans stayed and applauded them off, which tells you everything you need to know.
And for Liverpool, Arne was talking about mentality again.
He used the phrase winning ugly. And frankly, that's what champions do. It's easy to look good when you beat a team 4-0 at Anfield in the sunshine.
Right.
But these games, the cold, the rain, the injuries, the hostile crowd, these are the games where you earn your paycheck.
And the table looks a lot healthier for them now.
A massive difference. They're now within 2 points of Chelsea in 5th. They're keeping pace. If they had lost, the pressure on Slot would have been suffocating. Now he can say, look, we have the character to fight.
But, and there is always a but, at what cost?
That is the big question mark hanging over this win. The 3 points are in the bag, but the squad is decimated.
The attrition is just brutal. Endo is out, Frimpong is out, Bradley is out.
It feels like a Pyrrhic victory, you know? They won the battle, but do they lose the war? You can have all the mentality in the world, but if you literally run out of defenders to put on the pitch, you cannot compete in this league.
So it's going to be a massive test of slots management. Can he innovate? Can he play kids?
He might have to. We might see midfielders playing defense for the next month. We might see academy players thrown into the fire.
So the mentality they showed tonight.
It's going to be tested every single week from now on because the bodies just aren't there.
It's a sobering thought to end on. A historic win, a broken record, but a future that looks very, very difficult.
It's never boring with Liverpool, is it?
Never.